Hello and welcome to the first live stream from the Underdogs and Yin Dog and Equilibre Animal on YouTube. Today I will first introduce myself, then I will talk about 5 cases for about reactive dogs, exploding dogs, but at least are reactive dogs. And then I will give you a few ideas how you can support your dog, how you can help yourself, and about the next month, the upcoming topics. So I'm German. Since 2008, I live in France. And I live here with actual 8 dogs, 2 border collies, and 6 Romanian street dogs. And it is possible that during a live stream, I have to talk to my dogs, and it's also possible that I jump up and run out, but I'll be back. So if I run away, dogs are doing things. I am an animal communicator, trust technique practitioner, animal behaviorist, dog trainer. I'm a life coach for humans. And my work is not so much the dog trainer. I prefer to find out why dogs have behavior problems, issues. I'm working with a lot of dogs that have behavior problems like fear aggression, dogs that are abused or abandoned, and half feral street dogs. Dogs that have problems to live in our civilization. Hi, Lise. Thank you. Hi and welcome. Yeah, thank you for using the chat. So it's the first time. I don't have a clue if it works, but it seems to work. Merci. Yes, and these the emojis work too. Thank you very much. So these dogs have often problems to live in our social world. Dogs that have been wild and independent shall walk on a lead, be cuddled and touched, live in an apartment, go for a walk with other dogs in the park. And often these dogs are just lost and they need a lot of support. Even there are also dogs that are not able to cope with this life, and I try to find solutions for these dogs so they do not end in a shelter. You have maybe heard about yin and yang. So one of the aspects from yin and yang is structure and chaos. The classic dog training, conditioning, obedience, dressage is part of the structure, and chaos is the yin part, and this is where we find the emotions, pain, fear, patterns, beliefs, things. It's called the subconsciousness. And not only we humans have this, animals have this too. We like to say that animals live in the present, right here, right now, but we humans do this too. We humans think a lot about the past and the future, and then we are disconnected from our authentic selves in the present moment, and animals have the same problem. They have made experiences, maybe bad experiences, they want to avoid in the future. So a horse that had a bad experience with the trailer, and it shall go to the trailer again, will refuse to go to the trailer. If it would be in the right here, right now, it would have forgotten what has happened and it wouldn't be able to think about what maybe could happen. So, yes, we are right here, right now in the present moment. But animals and humans are very often disconnected from this situation, from this being. And it is very important when working with our animals to be aware that we are our authentic self in the present moment, and also support our animals to be there too. Because when the animals stuck in this overthinking, they have the same problem as we have. They are not able to react, to stay calm, to think about a solution, about a problem. And yeah, I when I work with my clients, I help my clients, I support my clients to help themselves, to support their animals. And I'm not so the part with the structure, walking on lead, all these obedient things, conditioning. It's great, we need that, but later. When you have a dog with behavior problems, with issues, we have to find out why. So when your dog doesn't want to sit, there are a lot of reasons why it doesn't want to sit. It doesn't understand the command, and that's not why because it's stupid or it's from Romania. It maybe never learned to learn. Pain, health issues, um, fear, whatever. There are a lot of reasons why your dog doesn't want to sit, and so if you go to a dog trainer and your dog still doesn't want to sit, whatever you do, it refuses to sit, there might be another problem behind this behavior problem. So this is now it's an example. Um, my part is the chaos, the subconsciousness. I take my candle, I go down into the cave, and I will look into the dark chaos. What's the patterns? What are the beliefs? What's the history? What has happened? What maybe the dog think about could happen again to avoid. And yes, so I will explain or talk about 5 dogs that I live with and that have this problem to explode. And it's not really exploding. It's what, as I said, we call it reactive dogs. Um, I have 2 border collies. And in this case, it is part of the breed. Border collies have a very, very high energy by nature. And they are dogs that can stand still when go and have a look on YouTube for working border collies. It's amazing how they work. They don't move and immediately they start to run and they don't move. They stop and they start to run and they stop, don't move. So their reaction by nature is very expressive. And these dogs have a very high energy level. They are working and dogs and they want to work. And if these dogs don't have work, they try to find work. And Tim is a rescue border collie. He came to me with 4 years. The first 3 years he was locked in a cage on a farm, rescued by the police. Then he was 1 year in the shelter. And when he came to me, he didn't knew anything. He was traumatized and he didn't had a clue about life. Yeah, well, he was a very poor dog, and so he had to learn. But he learned, and um, but he has a problem. When I try to train him to teach him something, he panics because he never learned to learn to be trained, and he overthinks. He knows I want something from him, but he doesn't know what to do because he's overthinking. And but he's a very, very friendly and calm character. And yeah, he's from a working breed, but I mean, I work with horses, and when he's out with the horses, he never tried to hurt horses or any other animals, sheep or whatever he meets. When he's afraid, he goes under my horse and tries to to feel safe to escape under my horse. What's maybe not the best idea, but yes. So that's Tim. But here at home, he can lie in a corner and sleep. And when he hears something, he jumps immediately up and runs to the front door. The other border collie was found on the street. We don't know anything about her past, and she is the same. I think she was on a chain or locked, because she can totally overreact, and she overreacts. She's It's not able to calm her down. Other She was with a pack, and it happened that the pack attacked her because they tried to calm her down, because her behavior, typical border collie, she starts to run around, to run in circles and to nip the other dogs. And yes, one day it was just too much, and they for a very long time they tried to yeah, control her, to calm her down, and but she cannot cope with this. And she also has problems with training, with lead training, with walking on the lead, with anything else, because she overthinks. We are still working on that. She's fine, but in this case, it's part of the breed, and for the rescued dogs also, part of the trauma and the frustration, because she cannot live her natural behavior. She looks for other solutions. Then I have Raiponce. Raiponce comes from Romania. She was 6 or 7 months when she was no, 4 months when she was trapped on the street. Came to a shelter, was adopted with 6 or 7 months, came to France. People in France gave her a collar and a harness, and she escaped. And she grew up in the wild, 8 months, with harness and collar, completely independent. We thought she would be dead, and she escaped in June, July, and in February the next year, she was seen. People have seen her again, and we knew, okay, she was alive, and tried to trap her again. And then she came first to a shelter. Was there for a month maybe, and then she came to me in a foster place. And she's very traumatized. The first month she was hidden in a corner, just trembling. Came out in the night, but it worked with the other dogs. With a trust technique, we had a chance to calm her down, and she could release her trauma and became a member of the pack. Slowly she came into the house, and then it happened that she started to overreact. She took the part to alert the group if something happened. I think she learned that from the other dogs, maybe Tim, because Tim is doing that, and she followed him. She was very lost, and she tried to copy the other dogs, and she started to, yes, to alert the other dogs if there was a car or people or anything she hears. And she has very good ears. She has very good ears. That is a bit annoying sometimes, but okay. So, and she did something similar like Shy the border collie. Um, when she heard something and she overreacted, she started to attack other dogs because she lost control. She was not able to cope with this situation, what is part of the trauma, and she lost control. And in her panic, she started to attack normally the weak dogs, and I started to separate the groups a bit so the others were safe. And at the end, one day it escalated, and the pack attacked her. She's fine. She's fine, and she's living with the pack. It's all okay. These things happen when you work with traumatized half feral street dogs, living in a pack, and this was part of her learning. and she learned a lot through this attack. And luckily, until today, she's fine with the pack. But she still has her part to alert the others. And she's lying somewhere, sleeping, deeply sleeping, and she's the one I really get a heart attack because from zero, she jumps up and she starts to bark in a very high voice. And we are living on the countryside. It's very, very calm here. And in the evening, because yes, they hear much better than us, and I don't have a clue. I do not hear what they can hear. We are living up on a hill, and the acoustic is very good, so they can hear the neighbor farm dogs 500 meters away on the other hill, and this sometimes is a bit difficult. But okay, yeah, we are still working with her too, and she makes big steps. She really makes very big steps. But I think this is part also of her character and of her part in the pack. Another dog, a completely another dog, is Mirza. Mirza comes from Romania too. She was catched on the street, came to the shelter, came to a foster family in France. And remember, these dogs are trapped on the street with loops. So normally people chase them with motorbikes and catch them, and they are really they fight for their life. They have panic, they have fear, they can't breathe, and then they go to the shelter. They're catched again for surgery, for sterilization, the whole process. They are catched again to be put into the transport to Western Europe. Because in the Romanian shelters, there's even they try to care for so many dogs, they do not have the possibility to train every dog who's in the shelter. And Mirza came to a family, and the lady or the family, they worked with a chain collar, and the lady made videos. And first, people were totally impressed because the dog made so many progress. And I didn't know about her case. Later, when the association asked me if I could take her, because after a while, another dog trainer said to the association, when you have a look at these videos, you can see that this dog is completely stressed, shows a lot of calming signals of stress reaction, and the lady is just ignoring them. She's not listening to the dog. And one day this dog will react and she will freak out, and this can be really dangerous, because the lady, yeah, she made progress with her, but it was just that Mirza was in a freeze. And we have these three reactions from traumatized, stressed dogs: fight, flight, freeze. And the thing is, with freeze, for the moment, we maybe feel safe because the dog doesn't show any reaction, but it can change very quickly, and we get into a fight or flight state. And this can become very dangerous, because when the stress level is too high and the dog freaks out, she will attack the people maybe. So the association asked me if I could take her, and I took her. And we had a lot of problems. She really has an aggression problem, and we're still working on this. But she's the one who has flashbacks. She's lying in her. She has a basket, a bed in my room, in my sleeping room, and she's lying there in a corner. And she's the one in the middle of the night who jumps up and screams, and then she's standing in the middle of the room, not knowing where she is, what she wants. And I had once the situation that there was another dog lying near her, and she attacked the dog, not badly, because it's just a few seconds. It's very very short time, but and then she's standing there and where I am, what's going on here? And then she shakes and goes back into her bed and sleeps the rest of the night. It's getting better. It's getting better. But I have heard from other people who have rescue dogs that this can happen. So for me, it's clear that it can happen because humans, like animals, we have same brain. um, the structure of our body, fear, traumatize is the same. Why shouldn't be the reactions the same? And yes, Mirza, she has this this aggression reaction also when we are out a few days ago. She was running free. I only can let her run free when I know we are safe. There are not many people here, and but there were machines from the farmer on the field, and she started to attack these machines because normally they were not there, and she was running, and then because they were far away, she calmed down, said okay, she had a look and came back. Her aggression is based on fear. Her aggression is based on fear, and she doesn't know how to cope with this, and she overreacts, and then it's very hard to calm her down. Then Five's last dog is Cody. Cody was a border collie too, who was he lived with two ladies, mom and daughter, for 7 years. He was in an enclosure in the living room, and after 7 years, he started to bite. I think the mother, I don't know, the ladies decided to give him away, and he came to a foster family from an association. And Surma, he didn't know a lot about. He had no socialization with other dogs or humans. He didn't knew a lot about the world outside because he lived in this living room. And the foster family went to the vet because he started to have aggression problems, and the vet said we can give him drugs, Prozac. I don't know if it's same Prozac, that calms down the dog. And the lady called me and said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I would wait. Let's see. Give me the try to see the dog and maybe help him, and then we can decide still if we give him the calm him down with tranquilizer, or if he really has to be put down to sleep. But I would see if it's possible to help him." And I met him the first time. He was standing in a door, and it was fear aggression. He was completely overwhelmed with the situation. He was in a foster family with a lot of other dogs. He has lost his home. It was an abusive home, but for him it was his home, his people, his life. And now he was with another person in another environment with a lot of dogs, and he was a border collie. This high thinking dog with this high energy level, he was completely overwhelmed. And he had bitten the foster lady, he had bitten several friends from her. And a lot of people were afraid of him now. And everybody said, "What shall we do with this dog?" And I said, "Okay, first, don't look at him," because he had this border collie thing. He stared at the people. And the foster family, they knew border collies, but I don't know what he wants with this staring at me. It can make people frightened and or anxious. And the border collie, for the border collie, it is a natural behavior, but they try to move the sheep with this. With this staring, they get control and they move the sheep. So doing this with humans is always suffer very, very high thinking and trying to figure out, can I move you? And what will you do next? I said, okay, stop watching him and just turn away, but do not move. Don't go away. Just take out the pressure. When you're not looking at him, don't take off the pressure, and he might be calmed down. And that's what has happened. He calmed down. Do not touch the dog. because we do not know what has happened to him, and maybe he has pain issues. And because what happened was, family, friends, people were sitting in the kitchen at the table, and the dogs are around, and people are chatting and drinking tea, and beside them, the dogs, they start to stroke the dogs. And then he bite. And nobody already knew why. They all said, the eyes are changing. But there was no reason why. I said, okay, don't touch the dog. That's very easy. Just give him food and try to separate him from the others so that he is not overwhelmed. Because what he has done, he has bitten the foster family lady, and she shouted at him, and the pack attacked him. Normal, that happens. And then he was completely confused. So we tried to take off everything he didn't, so he could get in a position where he could observe people and the pack. And it was from day to day that he calmed down, that he became more friendly, that he became more open to the environment, to the other dogs, to the people that came. He was waiting for me. He knew once a week I come, and I worked with him for, wow, more than 2 months, I think. Every week I was there, and his overreaction was that he was insecure, he was completely overwhelmed, and he had issues. He had pain in the back. And all this we could manage with no training, because in this situation you cannot train the dog. When you go to this dog and try to train him or repeat with aggression or pressure or dominance, this dog is even more confused. So it was necessary to heal him, to help him, to support him, to calm down, to trust, to feel confident, to realize his own being in this environment. And today we didn't need the Prozac, we didn't need the tranquilizer. Today I think he's adopted, and he walks on lead. He's friendly to people. After 2 or 3 months, he had this long border collie coat, and the fur, he had a lot of I don't know, it was had to be cut off, the old fur. And nobody wanted to do this. And I took the scissor, and for a few sessions, I trained him to what's the scissor and what's the noise it makes, and hold it to this ear and let him sniff. And I think it was third or fourth session I had at the end with him with a scissor. He was lying on the floor. I was sitting on the chair. He was lying on my feet, and I could cut off at his skin the old fur. And he took my hand. He took the other hand, the free hand, he took with his mouth, with his teeth, very, very friendly, very but he was stressed, and this was his sign to show me I'm not so sure this is good, but he didn't bite. He just hold my hand, and I could cut off with the other hand all the old fur, and he was so proud about himself that he was able to manage that, to cope with the situation. And it was such a high intelligent dog, and friendly and loving to people, that you think what he has gone through for 7 years, that he was able in a few months to change completely direction, is was amazing. But his overreaction, this exploding, had a lot to do with the people that it's it was not their fault, because they were with Cody as with any other dog too. They didn't have in mind his issues and how to cope with this. And once they all knew he's fine, and how to treat him, and how to cope with his fear, they could trust him. They became more confident, and this helped Cody too, and today he's fine, and he doesn't have this overreactions anymore. So these are 5 different possibilities and situations why dogs can explode or overreact. Mostly it is really unconfidence, no trust, stress, fear that triggers this behavior, and it's the overreaction that brings them out of the part where they can cope with the situation calm, because they cannot think anymore in this high energy level. What can we do? The first thing is to understand that the dog doesn't want to bother anyone. They need help. They need support. We know it from ourselves. We have maybe we had a bad experience, and we think about it, what has happened, and we have a feeling of fear and anger and frustration and whatever, panic maybe. And now a similar situation comes, and we remember the bad experience, and our feelings come up, and we want to avoid another bad experience. We overreact because we are not able to calm down our thinking level. We get in panic again, even there is no reason to panic. And this is what happens to the dog. The other possibility is that the dog has kind of conditioning with a bad situation. So, or maybe a good outcome. We have this also when we know all the postmen. So the dog is lying and sleeping, and it rings at the door because the post comes, and the dog gets up and barks and reacts, and the postman goes again. So for the dog, he was very successful, and he has a reward, or people reward their dogs for behavior, and the outcome is an overreaction, because the dog thinks, oh great, I get a reward, I will continue this behavior. What we can do is, yes, understanding our dogs, try to find out how we can support them, and a journal is very helpful to find out what happens, when does it happen, what's the outcome, what was the trigger maybe. Behavior is our behavior is, also humans as animal behavior is normally it's communication. It's the outcome of thinking and feeling, and normally we get a reward, and it doesn't need to be a positive reward. It can also be a negative reward, but a reward is a reward. It's the hormones. We know that from dogs or people. A bad attention is better than no attention, and conditioning, used behavior, very used behavior. If you ever changed in your kitchen the fridge with the dishwasher, you will very often go with your used plates to the fridge because you're used to go to this place. We have to rethink that the dishwasher is at another place and this is a fridge now. So we have to understand that our dogs need support to break up with this conditioned behavior, and this needs time. It needs a lot of time and consequence. When we want to stop our dog and we do it once a day, and the other 5 times we just let him bark, it will not work. It is really that we have to work with our dog anytime that he freaks out, overreacts, shows this behavior. And this needs a lot of patience and a lot of time. And we do not help our dogs with pressure, dominance, fear, using water bottles or chains or whatever, throwing bottles with nails. This just makes the dog more anxious, but doesn't help to solve the problem. Because when the dog just stops behavior because he's afraid of another result, it doesn't delete the stress the dog has. So the first thing is to stay calm ourselves, then routine, training routine, living routine. And because most dogs suffer from safety, it is necessary to find out where the issue is so that you can make your dog more confident, feeling more secure, safe, and for good behavior, always a reward, so that you can program, reprogram the dog, make a new behavior. And yes, that's it so far to this topic. So if you need support or advice, you can contact me. You can also join the free community on School, the Mindful Animal Company. I will write the link into the description where you can find us. Next month, November, is... Thank you, Lise. Lise writes, thank you, love your community. Yes, me too. Love our members. And the next month, November, in the community, as on YouTube, is for the December. I will prepare you and your dog and your family to survive a beautiful December with all that can happen. I will just say the topics I will go through in the next month. It's 1 week is about dark time, depression, and stress. 1 week about family and traveling or visits. So if you want to visit your family with your dog, or your family comes with small children or whatever, we'll talk about that. Then 1 week is reserved for food and plants, because in December we have a lot of food that is high toxic for animals, pets, and also a lot of decoration, plants, candles. And I will explain what to do if your pet has eaten something toxic, or what to do or what you can ignore. And 1 week for fireworks and other celebrations, because also Christmas is not an easy time. We have a lot of attention about fireworks because it's noisy and the animals are afraid, but Christmas is also stressful too. And yeah, last but not least, pets are no Christmas present. What can you do instead, or how can it work? This is for November. I will try, I don't know in what rhythm will be podcast live. So maybe 1 week the podcast, 1 week live on YouTube. Depends on my time, your interest. And yeah, that's so far. This live stream was in relation to the current podcast number 16, The Exploding Dog. So you can listen to this too if you haven't already. There are another information too. That's so far from me. Thank you for listening, for joining, and I hope to see you again next time. And now I try to end stream. Go out. Bye. Bye. Thank you. You're welcome.